What if the person you trust the most harbors a secret so dark it could cost you everything? This is not just a story about betrayal or deceit, but a chilling journey into the shadows of suburban life. Within the walls of a seemingly ordinary gym lies a group entwined with sinister intentions and hidden truths. Tonight, we unravel the dark mystery surrounding a devoted wife who dared to lift the veil on her husband's secret world. Little did she know, her quest for the truth would lead to an unimaginable tragedy. As we delve deeper into this enigmatic tale, prepare yourself for twists that reveal just how far people will go to protect their secrets. Stay with us as we explore the chilling events that transformed love and trust into a haunting quest for justice. In a quiet corner of suburbia, nestled among tree-lined streets and neatly trimmed lawns, lived Rachel and Tom. Their life appeared picture-perfect, marked by weekend barbecues and warm greetings exchanged with neighbors. They were the kind of couple who blended seamlessly into their community, their smiles as consistent as the sunrise. Rachel, with her charming wit and keen intuition, balanced her days between home and her part-time work at the local library. Tom, on the other hand, cut the figure of a dedicated husband, spending his mornings at the office and his evenings immersed in his passion for fitness. It was this passion that had led him to join the exclusive gym group, one that met several times a week under the guise of rigorous training. To the outside world, his commitment seemed admirable, a testament to his dedication to health and wellness. But for Rachel, it sparked a curiosity and unease she couldn't quite shake. Their neighborhood, like many suburban havens, was a tapestry woven with friendly small talk and shared nods at the mailbox. Yet beneath its placid surface lay a complex web of relationships and whispered secrets. The gym group, while respected, was shrouded in an air of mystery that seemed at odds with the community's simple facade. Members were often seen arriving in pairs, their conversations abruptly hushed as outsiders passed. Rachel's keen awareness of these subtleties only deepened her sense of unease, prompting her to question the very foundation of trust she had placed in Tom. As we journey further into their story, the serene suburban backdrop begins to unravel, revealing a landscape where appearances can be deceiving and trust is as fragile as the morning dew. The gym group was more than a place for lifting weights and late-night cardio sessions. It was an exclusive circle that prided itself on unity and strength, not just of body but of spirit. Founded by a charismatic trainer named Jake, the group promised more than mere fitness. It spoke of an elite bond, a sanctuary where secrets were shared and loyalties tested. To become a member was to prove one's dedication, often through trials that, although whispered about, were never fully revealed to outsiders. Recruits were often approached subtly at local gyms, caught in conversations that seemed casual but were anything but. Those who passed the initial scrutiny were invited to a trial session, a test of both endurance and discretion. Upon acceptance, they would swear a commitment to the group that transcended ordinary gym memberships. An unwritten code bound them, a shared silence about the group's true nature. Anecdotes floated through the local gym circles, stories of late-night meetings and whispered conversations about matters far removed from fitness. There were rumors of covert operations, dealings that ventured beyond the realm of legal or moral boundaries. Some spoke of a secret so valuable and dangerous, it was guarded with fierce loyalty. Members were said to protect each other at all costs, their bond as unbreakable as steel forged in fire. Yet there was an unease about this camaraderie, a sense of something darker lurking beneath the surface. Those on the outside couldn't quite put their finger on it, but the tension was palpable. As Rachel's curiosity about the group intensified, so too did her awareness of the oddities surrounding it. With each passing day, the gym group grew more enigmatic, casting longer shadows on her once clear perception of normalcy and trust. With Tom's increasing involvement, Rachel found herself on the brink of a revelation, one that could unravel far more than she anticipated. The wife's curiosity was not an immediate burst of suspicion, but a slow burn ignited by subtle changes in Tom's behavior. It was as if an invisible thread was being tugged at, unraveling a fabric she thought was secure. Tom, who once shared everything from mundane work stories to evening trivia, began to hold back, offering only brief glimpses into his world. His once constant chatter about office tales dwindled, replaced by evasive remarks whenever the gym group was mentioned. Rachel noticed how his eyes would flicker with a guarded light, reminiscent of an actor carefully delivering lines from a script crafted to conceal deeper truths. What once was a routine Saturday morning ritual of shared coffee and laughter turned into solitary moments, with Tom claiming he needed extra time for the gym. Excuses multiplied like a cascade of falling dominoes. There was a palpable shift in his priorities, with evening dinners often interrupted by urgent calls and mysterious texts. Rachel felt the sting of these moments like paper, cut small but cumulatively painful. In her mind, she likened it to a suspense novel where the plot thickens with each chapter, drawing the reader deeper into its web. As the days passed, the feeling that something was amiss gnawed at her, like an insistent whisper at the edge of her consciousness. It was not just Tom's words that changed, but his very presence. He seemed to carry a weight with him, a tense energy that left an imprint in the spaces he occupied. Rachel, ever the intuitive observer, caught these silent tremors, a stiffened posture, an unfamiliar fragrance lingering on his skin, a nervous glance at his phone. These discrepancies, small as they were, formed a mosaic of doubt in Rachel's mind. She found herself piecing together these fragments, wrestling with her instincts that something far deeper lay beneath the surface. Like a detective uncovering clues in a labyrinthine case, Rachel's resolve to understand grew stronger. Each anomaly was a breadcrumb leading her on a path towards uncovering the truth, though she could sense it was a journey fraught with danger and uncertainty. Her heart echoed caution, yet her mind, sharper and more persistent, urged her forward into the shadows of the unknown. As she silently inventoried both the ordinary and the peculiar aspects of Tom's behavior, the realization settled in. She was on the brink of discovering something that could change everything. Rachel embarked on her quest for truth with the determination of an explorer charting unknown territories. It began with a subtle, almost accidental discovery. One evening, as she tidied up the living room, her fingers brushed against an unfamiliar card jutting out from a stack of magazines, a membership card for the gym group that bore Tom's name and the cryptic symbol that felt ominously significant. This small, seemingly innocuous object ignited a curiosity she could no longer suppress. Armed with intuition and growing suspicion, Rachel began her investigation. Her first move was to build a timeline of Tom's activities, juxtaposing his recent behaviors against the backdrop of their past. She meticulously chronicled the days when he claimed to be at the gym, comparing them with his phone records and credit card statements. The discrepancies were alarming and undeniable, hinting at excursions to places far from any gym. Rachel's next step led her to the heart of the local fitness community. She initiated conversations with acquaintances who could provide insights into the gym's members. Most exchanges were benign, yet she detected hesitation, subtle pauses, and brief stares that indicated there was more than met the eye. The whispers of covert meetings and peculiar gatherings danced at the edge of each conversation, tantalizing but just out of reach. Her investigative instincts drove her to the online realm, looking through social media platforms and forums dedicated to local gym enthusiasts. Here she found breadcrumbs of information, snippets of conversations, and coded exchanges that hinted at clandestine operations linked to Tom's group. One recurring name captured her attention, an enigmatic trainer named Jake, a figure who seemed to command respect, tinged with fear. The real breakthrough came when Rachel, driven by her unwavering quest for clarity, ventured to the gym under the guise of curiosity and fitness. She watched the members closely, noting the nuanced interactions, the way their eyes darted and their voices dipped into hushed tones when certain topics arose. Her persistence bore fruit when she stumbled upon a wayward document left unattended during one of her visits. The document, filled with coded language and obscure references, was a puzzle begging to be solved. As Rachel delved deeper into this document, she unearthed the group's alarming activities, illegal dealings veiled as fitness boot camps, and clandestine meetings masked as health retreats. The closer she got to the truth, the more she felt the cold breath of danger lurking, but the knowledge ignited a fire within her that could not be extinguished. Though her heart raced with the thrill of discovery, a nagging fear whispered the risks involved. Rachel knew she had uncovered the tip of an iceberg capable of capsizing the very foundation of her life. As reality crystallized around her, she stood on the verge of a revelation that would change everything, poised at the precipice of a secret world about to shatter into her own. The hidden agenda of the gym group unraveled before Rachel like a tapestry woven with threads of deceit and treachery. What she discovered was a realm where fitness was merely a guise for far more sinister endeavors. This clandestine community, held together by a veneer of camaraderie, was deeply enmeshed in illegal activities that thrived in secrecy. Rachel learned of their involvement in underground trading, where rare and illicit items were exchanged under the cloak of darkness. This network, veiled with layers of coded language and clandestine meetings, operated at the boundaries of morality and law. The members, including Tom, were not just casual fitness enthusiasts, but key players in a complex web of criminal operations. The gym had become a front, a sanctuary where plans were hatched and executed with ruthless precision. The chilling reality of human trafficking also loomed large within their operations, a revelation that struck a paralyzing fear into Rachel's heart. The group had forged alliances with shadowy figures, crossing lines that most would never dare approach. Their transactions, shrouded in silence, spoke of a moral abyss they had descended into, exploiting those who were most vulnerable. Rachel realized that this secret was fiercely guarded, for exposure would mean an end to their lucrative dealings and possibly their freedom. The risks associated with uncovering such a truth were immense, potentially placing Rachel in mortal danger. Her knowledge of the gym's true purpose made her a threat, one that could dismantle the carefully constructed facade of normalcy they projected to the world. The stakes were high, and the price of revealing this hidden agenda could be her very life. As she pieced together the gravity of her discovery, Rachel was acutely aware of the precipice she stood upon, knowing full well that her next steps must be met with caution, and perhaps a plan as calculated and secretive as the ones the group plotted themselves. The confrontation unfolded on a dreary Tuesday evening, the rain tapping rhythmically against the windows like an echo of Rachel's racing heart. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind countless times, each envisioning fraught with the weight of the revelations her sleuthing had unveiled. Now standing in their dimly lit living room, Rachel felt a palpable tension suffusing the air, charging it with an electricity that made every breath feel heavy. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady, though it carried the tremor of the storm raging within her. "Tom," she began, the words unfurling slowly, "there's something we need to talk about. Something I've discovered." Tom's gaze, initially unfazed, sharpened with the precision of a blade as he realized the gravity of her tone. His eyes bore into hers, and Rachel saw a flicker of something she couldn't quite name: fear, anger, perhaps betrayal. But whatever it was, it injected an icy chill into his demeanor. Her heart tightened as she laid bare the truths she had unearthed from the depths of their shared life. Each revelation fell like a stone in a pond, creating ripples of disbelief and indignation across Tom's face. He denied it at first, a defense mechanism spiraling into a vehement rejection of her claims. The arguments that ensued were fierce, punctuated by the raw edge of Tom's denial and the resolute undertone of Rachel's conviction. Words crashed like tidal waves against the rocky shores of love they had once built together. Rachel, armed with her evidence, presented the irrefutable facts that had once seemed like abstractions from a distant world. Tom, cornered, faltered, his protestations unraveling as he struggled to maintain the facade of innocence. The conversation twisted into a tempest of emotions, each partner vying for the truth, yet lost in a labyrinth of their own making. Tom's reaction was a tumultuous blend of anger and helplessness, his world collapsing in the echoes of Rachel's revelations. His voice, usually so composed, cracked under the strain of her accusations. He lashed out, not in violence, but in words woven with a desperation to salvage the remnants of the life they had known. Rachel, though shaken, stood her ground, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The room felt constricting, as if the walls bore witness to the volcanic eruption of their marriage, each crack in the plaster a testament to the fractures in their trust. As their dialogue descended into chaos, Rachel glimpsed the loss etched into Tom's features, a man grappling with the weight of his choices. This confrontation was not just an exposure of secrets, but a crucible that tested the very soul of their relationship. And as the storm outside raged inside, a silence settled, heavy and unresolved. This confrontation, this unraveling of truth, marked the beginning of an irrevocable change, an emotional chasm that now stood between them, wide and impassable. Yet, even as they drifted apart in the wake of their conflict, Rachel knew the path before her was set. She had opened Pandora's box, and closing it was no longer an option. The plan to silence Rachel was born out of the gym group's escalating desperation, a grim specter lurking within shadows cast by her revelations. As whispers of her discoveries trickled into the group's guarded circle, a collective tension mounted. Their tightly woven web of secrecy was fraying, each strand threatened by the clarity of Rachel's findings. It was Jake, the enigmatic leader, who convened the group under the guise of an urgent meeting. In the dimly lit back room of the gym, a place that had seen many hushed conversations, Jake spelled out the gravity of their situation. His voice, normally charismatic and commanding, carried an uncharacteristic edge of alarm. The group, once bound by loyalty and camaraderie, now found itself grasping at the precipice of exposure. It was not just their illegal activities at risk, but their very livelihoods and freedom. With Rachel in possession of knowledge that could unravel their empire of secrecy, the stakes had never been higher. It was here that the most harrowing decision was made. To silence Rachel was to secure their future, a chilling calculus of self-preservation. Faced with the threat of destruction, the group leaders deliberated the dire measures necessary to safeguard their clandestine operations. Ideas floated in the air, each more unsettling than the last, until one emerged as the bitter, unavoidable truth. The plan forged that evening was meticulous, born from a place of sheer necessity rather than desire. They would exploit the very systems they had mastered, using stealth and secrecy as their weapons. Under the tutelage of Jake, each member assumed a role in the orchestrated scheme, their tasks embedded with precision and cold calculation. They strategized a series of alibis, diverting any suspicion away from themselves, rehearsing each detail until it became second nature. Disguising the act as a tragic accident, they aimed to weave a narrative that would lead investigators on a path obscured by false leads. It was a narrative spun from desperation, but one anchored in their collective will to survive. Yet beneath their resolve lurked an undercurrent of fear, the knowledge that failure would mean the collapse of everything they had built. And so, with adrenaline coursing through their veins, the gym group embarked on their dark quest to silence Rachel. Each step they took was a testament to the lengths they were willing to go to protect their secrets, a chilling reminder of the shadows that can reside within the most ordinary of lives. The execution of the plan was as intricate as a well-rehearsed play, every participant meticulously aware of their role in the chilling performance. Under Jake's calculated direction, the gym group members prepared with precision, their every move driven by an unsettling mix of fear and adrenaline. Each detail was scrutinized, every contingency considered, as they aimed to choreograph an event that would evade the ever-watchful eyes of law enforcement. As the fateful day loomed closer, an almost palpable tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Rachel, blissfully unaware of the storm gathering around her, went about her day, her mind still clouded with the weight of her unspoken knowledge. Meanwhile, the gym group, hidden in the shadows, fine-tuned the orchestration of her demise. They took advantage of her routine, mapping out her activities with the precision of tacticians dissecting a battlefield. On the morning of the plot, Rachel's usual path to the library was altered ever so slightly, a minor detour orchestrated by a seemingly innocuous call she received. It was a friend asking for a cup of coffee, a request engineered by the group to ensure Rachel was at a predetermined location at an exact time. There, in the guise of normalcy, the trap was set. Jake, the puppet master, had coordinated every element to perfection. Vehicles were strategically positioned and alibis carefully rehearsed, each member blending into the tapestry of daily life as if they were mere spectators rather than architects of deception. They communicated through discreet signals, a language of glances and gestures honed over years of clandestine operations. As Rachel waited innocently in the small cafe, an ominous current charged the atmosphere, underlining the normal hum of life around her. The moment arrived with terrifying swiftness, a commotion erupted from nowhere, a seemingly random accident that in reality served as the perfect diversion. In the chaos, Rachel was guided away from the public eye, a shadowy figure emerging to execute the grim task. The illusion of randomness was their veil, concealing the sinister precision of the action unfolding. The world continued its rhythm, unaware of the tragedy orchestrated within its midst. Through it all, the gym group moved with the practiced ease of a dance, each step drawing them closer to the climax of their elaborate plot. The day, once bright with promise, now lay cloaked in a silence as dreadful as the deed accomplished. As they retreated into their lives, the group carried with them the weight of their act, a shared burden cloaked in secrecy. Yet the specter of their decision lingered, an unspoken understanding that the price of their hidden world was paid in the currency of a life lost. The plan, executed with chilling precision, now left a void as resounding as the silence that followed, a haunting reminder of the darkness that had claimed Rachel within the ordinary bustle of the day. In the dim glow of the cafe's flickering neon lights, the world seemed to hold its breath, frozen in a moment of cruel anticipation. Rachel, unaware of the sinister choreography playing out around her, sat quietly, her eyes wandering absent-mindedly through the bustling, everyday life scenes that unfolded beyond the glass window. The faint aroma of coffee mingled with the soft chatter of patrons, creating a deceptive cocoon of normalcy that masked the dark reality inching closer with each tick of the clock. Outside, the sky bore a muted grey, a perfect canvas for the ominous clouds gathering in secrecy. The rain began to fall, first as a delicate drizzle that kissed the pavement, then building into a relentless torrent that mirrored the tension coiling tighter with every passing second. In this setting, the benign facade of the cafe morphed into a stage set for tragedy, where innocence would soon be overshadowed by an act of unspeakable horror. Suddenly, the cafe's door swung open, a gust of cold wind sweeping through the room and chilling Rachel to her core. She looked up, catching a glimpse of a figure, drenched and unassuming, who moved deliberately through the crowd, each step measured and purposeful. Her heart quickened slightly, a faint whisper of unease nudging at the edges of her consciousness. As the figure drew closer, the ambience of the cafe seemed to shift imperceptibly, the air growing dense with an undercurrent of impending peril. A cup slipped from her hand somewhere in the room, shattering with a sharp cry that pierced the ambient murmur, a prelude to the chaos that would soon unravel. In that moment of distraction, the figure seized the opportunity, closing the distance with a swift, practiced ease. Time stretched into eternity, every action unfolding in agonizing detail as Rachel felt a sudden grasp, strong and unyielding. Her mind raced, grappling with the reality of the encounter, her instincts blaring with the urgency to flee. But the world around her moved in an inexorable slow motion, a nightmarish clarity enveloping her senses as the shadowy figure carried out the grim task with a brutality masked as randomness. The horror of the act unfolded in a theater of sinister efficiency, leaving Rachel voiceless in the grip of destiny. As the rain lashed against the window panes, the cafe patrons remained oblivious, their lives unfurling unhindered by the tragedy that had unfolded amidst them. The aftermath left a haunting silence, a void where Rachel's warmth and light once thrived. The figure slipped away into the downpour, carried by the cloak of anonymity and the safety of the shadows. The world outside continued its relentless march, each droplet of rain singing a mournful elegy to a life extinguished too soon. As the news of her death rippled through the close-knit community, a shroud of disbelief settled over those who had known her, and whispers of her bravery against an unseen evil echoed in hushed tones at every corner. Rachel's murder remained submerged in uncertainty and fear, a chilling testament to the fragility of safety within the confines of suburbia. In the wake of her passing, an indelible mark was left on the lives she had touched, a stark reminder of the shadows that lurk beneath the veneer of everyday existence. The cafe stood as a silent sentinel, bearing witness to the echoes of a life cut short, its walls holding the last breaths of a story untold, a secret now enmeshed with the rain-kissed whispers of the past. In the eerie stillness that followed Rachel's tragic end, the wheels of justice began to turn. Law enforcement swiftly swooped in, their presence marked by the flashing blue and red lights that cut through the somber mist enveloping the neighborhood. The gravity of Rachel's murder demanded a thorough investigation, and the detectives on the case knew they were stepping into a shadowy labyrinth of deception and hidden truths. The initial gathering of evidence commenced with methodical precision. Investigators meticulously scoured the cafe, documenting every detail from the shattered porcelain fragments to the barely visible footprints left behind by the mysterious figure. Surveillance footage from nearby stores was combed through frame by frame, each pixel scrutinized in the hope of capturing a glimpse of the assailant. Witnesses were interviewed, their accounts varying in clarity and consistency, painting a muddled picture that left more questions than answers. Among the initial findings was the enigmatic membership card in Rachel's possession, representing a thread that might unravel the complex tapestry of the gym group's clandestine operations. Yet it was a thread steeped in ambiguity, raising as many suspicions as it did leads. The detectives had to navigate a delicate path, aware that Rachel's death might be connected to a deeper, more insidious conspiracy. The challenges faced were formidable. The gym group, seasoned in secrecy, left few traces on the surface, their dealings woven tightly into the fabric of the community. Detectives encountered a wall of silence, the group's reputation casting a long shadow over potential informants, many of whom feared retribution or entanglement in illegal activities. Law enforcement found themselves grappling with an intricate web of alibis and circumstantial evidence, each strand requiring careful untangling to prevent the case from collapsing under its complexity. The enigmatic leader, Jake, posed a particular challenge with his uncanny ability to elude direct connection to the crime. The intricate connections between the gym members, veiled behind layers of loyalty and fear, further complicated the detectives' endeavors. The pressure to deliver justice weighed heavily, with Rachel's family seeking closure and a community yearning for answers. As days turned into weeks, the investigation inched forward, each new piece of evidence serving as a beacon in the oppressive fog of uncertainty. The detectives knew that perseverance and shrewd investigative work were crucial if they were to illuminate the dark mystery surrounding Rachel's untimely demise. With the stakes high and the shadows deep, the pursuit of justice for Rachel was only just beginning, an arduous journey that demanded resilience and resolve from those determined to see justice served. The unraveling of the gym group's carefully constructed alibi began with a single thread of inconsistency, one that detectives tugged at with relentless precision. Initially, the group's narrative of innocence seemed airtight, an orchestrated account corroborated by multiple members. each aligning perfectly like pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. However, the detectives, seasoned in the art of deception and truth, approached each statement with a scrutinizing eye and a finely tuned instinct for the subtle cracks in human stories. They initiated a process known as cross-referencing, a tactical maneuver designed to pit the alibis against one another. By systematically questioning each group member separately, the detectives hoped to detect the slightest divergence in their stories. It was during these interviews that small fissures began to surface, as if the weight of the secret they guarded was too great for their cracks to conceal. Underneath the rehearsed lines lay traces of uncertainty and contradiction, which the investigators were keen to exploit. One particularly sharp detective noted a discrepancy in the timeline provided by Jake, the enigmatic leader. His claim of hosting a training session during the time of Rachel's murder clashed with cell tower data, which placed him far from the supposed location. This discrepancy was the first domino in a chain reaction that began to unravel the tightly held alibi. The methodical cross-examination continued with a focus on physical evidence. Surveillance footage, once thought irrelevant, now offered glimpses of faces, partially obscured, or fleeting movements captured unwittingly by nearby cameras. Detectives meticulously analyzed each frame, seeking clues embedded within the ordinary hustle and bustle. They were like artisans, chiseling away at a block of marble to reveal the truth beneath. Pressure was applied through strategic psychological tactics, leveraging each member's fear of isolation and betrayal. The detectives understood the group's unity was both their strength and Achilles' heel. By isolating members during questioning, they created a sense of vulnerability, making them more likely to reveal truths to protect themselves. Subtle shifts in demeanor and tone were noted, each one a potential key to unlocking further admissions. The detectives also employed digital forensics to dissect electronic communication trails. In a world where secrets are often whispered in the digital ether, they unearthed threads of messages, fragments of conversations that, when pieced together, told a story of hidden agendas and foreboding plans. With each breakthrough, the pressure on the suspects intensified, their carefully constructed facade beginning to crumble under the weight of revealed truths. It became evident that the group, once seemingly invincible, was now splintering, each lie and deception exposed under the unforgiving light of truth. As the detectives continued their pursuit, the alibi that once seemed impenetrable was now a tapestry unraveling at every seam, leading them closer to justice for Rachel. The breakthrough moment arrived like a beacon, piercing the dense fog of uncertainty that had shrouded Rachel's case. After weeks of painstaking detective work and meticulous scrutiny, the investigators found the keystone that would bring the truth to light. It was the result of a relentless pursuit of justice, a dedication to piecing together a puzzle of intricate deception. The turning point came with the unexpected revelation from an unlikely source within the gym group. One member, burdened by a conscience heavy with secrets and guilt, approached the detectives under the cloak of night, seeking an audience away from prying eyes. In a hushed meeting, the member's confession spilled forth, a torrent of truths that unraveled the group's web of lies. This insider disclosed the depth of the group's clandestine operations, revealing the sinister plot that had led to Rachel's tragic end. Armed with this confession, the detectives gained insight into the inner workings of the gym group's hierarchy, further confirming the suspicions they had harbored. With renewed vigor, they cross-referenced the confession with the evidence amassed thus far. Phone records, electronic messages, and newly analyzed surveillance footage coalesced into a coherent narrative. Each piece of information aligned perfectly with the confession, like stars falling into place in a constellation that had remained obscured until now. This revelation cast the group into stark relief, laying bare their motives, movements, and the critical error in their plan, a miscalculation that the detectives skillfully exploited. The evidence, now illuminated by the insider's testimony, brought clarity and focus to the investigation, transforming abstract suspicions into undeniable truths. The members of the Jim group, once so united in their secrecy, found themselves ensnared by the very loyalty that had held them together. The group's understanding that their empire of deceit was no longer sustainable became apparent. With each member left to confront their choices and the inevitable consequences, the once impervious wall of silence crumbled. The import of the truth they had finally uncovered was profound, shining a light on the darkness that had claimed Rachel's life. As the dust began to settle, the investigators knew that this breakthrough was not just the end of their arduous journey, but the beginning of justice for Rachel. The case that had teetered on the brink of going cold was now ablaze with clarity, and the path to resolution became unmistakably clear. As the courtroom hummed with anticipation, the day of reckoning finally arrived for the Jim group, marking the commencement of the trials that would determine their fate. The prosecution laid out a meticulously constructed case, painting a vivid tapestry of the events that led to Rachel's untimely death. Each piece of evidence, every testimony, formed a damning portrait of conspiracy and malice. The courtroom was a theater of justice, where every word, every gesture, was scrutinized under the relentless gaze of the public eye. The trial spanned weeks, every session a grueling testament to the resilience of those seeking justice for Rachel. Witnesses took the stand, their voices trembling yet resolute as they recounted the chilling details of the Jim group's clandestine activities. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of grief and determination, each revelation a haunting reminder of the darkness that had enveloped their community. The defense, in a desperate bid to salvage the remnants of their clients' lives, wove arguments laced with doubt and diversion. Yet, the overwhelming weight of evidence, coupled with the insider's confession, stood as an insurmountable beacon of truth. The judge, with a solemn nod, delivered a verdict that echoed with finality, guilty on all counts. Sentencing day dawned with an atmosphere heavy with the expectation of closure. The convicted members of the Jim group stood stoic, their futures bound by the chains of their actions. The sentences were pronounced with gravity, a lifetime spent behind bars for key conspirators, ensuring that Rachel's death would not be in vain. Justice, though bittersweet, was served, a balm for a community that had long been haunted by unanswered questions. For Rachel's family, the trial was a double-edged sword. While it offered a semblance of justice, it could not fill the void left by her absence. Her loved ones, though relieved by the verdict, found themselves grappling with a complex tapestry of emotions, relief intertwined with a profound sense of loss that time alone could not heal. The community, too, found itself at a crossroads. The trial had laid bare the hidden fissures within their seemingly idyllic suburb, a sobering reminder of the shadows that could lurk beneath the surface. Yet, in the aftermath, there was a collective resolve to rebuild, to honor Rachel's memory by fostering a renewed sense of vigilance and connectedness. As the dust began to settle, Rachel's name became synonymous with courage and truth, her legacy a beacon of resilience for all who followed. Though closure remained elusive for those who loved her most, her story served as a stark reminder of the power of one voice to unravel the fabric of deceit and to shed light on the darkest corners of the human experience. In conclusion, as we unravel the threads of this chilling saga, we are reminded of the dire consequences embedded within the pursuit of hidden truths. Rachel's tragic journey underscores a grim reality, that the quest for knowledge can sometimes lead us down paths fraught with peril, where the stakes are not just personal, but perilously high. Her story is a poignant testament to the courage required to confront the shadows lurking beneath the veneer of ordinary days. It serves as a solemn warning about the risks involved when peeling back layers to expose secrets that others are desperate to keep buried. The broader implications of Rachel's tale reach beyond personal tragedy, sparking a reflection on the fragility of trust within our communities and the lengths to which individuals will go to guard their hidden agendas. In an era where the lines between public persona and private intentions are often blurred, this case beckons us to assess our own surroundings and the relationships we hold dear. As we close the curtain on this haunting narrative, we invite you, our audience, to ponder the mysteries that surround us daily. Have you ever experienced or observed a situation where the pursuit of truth led to unexpected revelations? Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below as we continue to explore the captivating world of mystery and true crime stories. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you found this journey intriguing, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest stories shrouded in mystery.